We're back for hour 3 of
Hey, folks.
Scum and Villainy Stardancer.
Yeah. So yeah, I really want to. I want to make Aya feel like I think she's really special, and I want to leverage that to get information about this box, or at least as much information as she has.
Straight up, this is going to be what's called a gather information roll. So the question here is there any clear and present danger to the roll? And the answer is no. So we're going to do a different kind of roll now. It's going to be a fortune roll. So a fortune roll is basically like where you establish a pool. In this case, your pool is probably going to be based on your sway, because it sounds like that's what you're doing. I will also take a consort because you're kind of chumming it up. And
I've got consort. Let's do consort.
So we're going to make essentially like a consort roll where what you're trying to do is like put them at ease and maybe extract some information by reading body language and like connecting with them and like sort of trying to figure out what's going on by like trying to make friendship. And even if they pull back, that tells you information. So you're trying to figure out what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and let's do this as a consort roll, but it's not a. So you can go ahead and click consort, but this is not a. There's no risk, so we're not gonna be doing it as a risky thing, and we're just gonna see what kind of information you get. So like on a 1 to 3, it's gonna be very little. On a 4 to 5, you'll get some information, but maybe not everything you wanted. And then like on a 6+, you'll get some clear reads.
No good.
Yeah, no good, right? So like this is essentially like a failure. So Aya is an assassin, and she's kind of on a job, and her mask, her like whole like I'm a badass and I expect to be obeyed demeanor cracked when she saw Baz. But like you look at her and you start putting on the charm, and you realize that this reminds her that she's on a job and a badass assassin. So she starts shutting down. So the thing about gather info rolls is, well, first let me double check something real quick. I'm going to check and see, what did you take as your special ability, if I may ask?
Oh, I can tell if people are lying to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm a player.
Yes, you can't play a player, as we know. Awesome. You look at Aya and you put on your best charm, and you're like, "Hey there, how's it going?" And you know, I think you're fancy.
That's a really nice braid that you got there.
Some cool knives.
Yeah, tell me about them.
Do you ask up front about the box, or are you just trying to make small talk and kind of distract her?
The goal was to make small talk and then ask about the box once I had an in, but it feels like the answer is I make small talk and I don't get the in.
That's kind of what it sounds like. She'll definitely try and what she'll say is, listen, I really like. She looks straight at you, Lauren, and but you see her eyes flicker to Boz, so it's obvious there's a connection there, right? She looks straight at you and she says, like, I'm supposed to get the case. She actually doesn't necessarily even know what's in the case. She says, I'm supposed to get the case, and I'm supposed to take out anyone who tries to stop me from getting it. I didn't realize that you'd be carrying it.
Faye wants to like jump in because she feels like she's got an in right in this very moment. Is it okay if I kind of like, well, actually?
And by the way, you know that she's telling the truth. Particularly when she says that she's hoping that this ends well, you realize that there is an emotional gravitas there where she's like, I will do what I have to do because it's my orders, but I'm going to feel real shitty about it.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Faye. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on.
No. It's just I also wanted to make sure I wasn't like diving in. She's like, I look at Boz and I go, we dropped it. I look at Boz and I look at her and I go, we dropped it. There were like too many of them on us. It was in that bar back down that way, and we dropped the case. And Faye really doesn't like to lie, but she feels like she's just skating on the edge.
It's true. It's true.
And so she's like,
the case.
Yeah. So and we're like, it's in there. I don't know if they've detected it or not, but we just wanted to get out. So we dropped the case and ran. And they saw us running. So I feel like that like like give some credibility to it. She's really in the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law here, but that's Faye's comfort zone. There's truth to this.
So this sounds like a sway roll, because sway is what you use to lie bold-facedly to people.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, deception falls
Yeah.
under the domain of sway.
Nice.
Sounds like you're making a sway roll, and it sounds like the rest of the crew here might be able to corroborate your story, or maybe like throw an assist.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I think I could really use an assist from Boz if you like. I don't know how you feel about me, kind of, sort of, basically lying to your friend, or
Yeah, that's the problem.
yeah. So I could see you. I mean, Faye doesn't know your relationship, so she's not thinking like this is Boz's best friend. She's thinking this is an assassin who's going to kill anybody to get to this thing.
Right.
So yeah, it's totally. It's a good question. Would you help? Would you hinder? Would you stand back?
Oh. And throughout all of this, Boz has been sort of like swivel-headed back and forth as the two of you start talking and watching. Right, just very.
Do you hunker down and try and stay out of this and just let Faye try and steal the limelight, or do you corroborate and say, "Yes, I put it somewhere" or something?
I'm not going to corroborate.
Awesome.
I'm just, I think at this point there's just like watching, like, there's maybe even like a half a step back.
Yeah.
I think I do say like, oh yeah, we left the case in the bar back there.
Awesome. So that sounds like an assist,
Nice.
and you can
Cool.
spend
Yeah.
stress to give the person rolling +1 die.
Yeah.
So,
I'm getting stressed out, you guys.
it sounds like you're gonna
Poor
have to
thing.
vice. I hope there's delicious food in your near future.
Oh
It's
man.
a stressful. All right. So cool. So what position is this?
This is risky.
Yeah.
This is definitely not controlled, because at this point you're bold-faced lying to somebody who may or may not.
It's covered in knives.
Yes, that is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Right. So I feel like this is an important role.
Yeah.
Do you have a devil's bargain for me, or? I mean, I can think of one, which is just like she's gonna remember my face, like when she finds out this box is empty.
I believe she's gonna remember your face anyway.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So it's not much of a devil's bargain there.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Cool.
All
right.
and the rest, just for everyone watching, and also my nice players, if anybody else can think of a cool devil's bargain, the table can throw them out, and we can roll with one. But you're rolling sway. You get +1 die from your very smooth talking speaker saying, yeah, and throwing in corroborating evidence. And are you going to spend a gambit?
Do it.
Yeah, I'll spend a gambit.
Do it.
We got it. That's what it's there for.
Do it. Boz is no help.
All right, I'm gonna spend a gambit. What's our effect?
Your effect is standard.
Cool.
If she believes you, she's going to go after the box. And depending on how well you roll, you may or may not be left with a guard. So we'll see.
Cool.
Hmm.
All right, I'm taking 2 bonus dice, one for Lauren's help and one for spending the gambit. And they do not, well, they help, but they don't get me there. So
Nice. Okay.
part of the way.
So I think Aya turns around and nods at her folks, and she and 2 of them are going to head over to the bar to try and appropriate the box from whoever may or may not have it, knowing now where it's supposed to be. But you're left with one kind of gruff-looking thug person that you outnumber at this point, but he's definitely got his hand on his blaster.
Yeah.
So you've only got like maybe 5 minutes before they come back, realizing that it's not the thing that they're supposed to get necessarily. Well, maybe not. The case was closed afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know that it's, well, actually, no, you took the devil's bargain that
Yeah, so it's
everyone will
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
they will know. This devil's bargain means that you guys are on the clock as of right now. You see them
Yeah.
heading to the edge of
Great.
the alley. Are there any symbols? Does anybody do anything? Are you going to jump this guy, or are you just going to run away? What's the plan here?
So I feel like Boz is going to just kind of like settle in and get comfortable, like, because obviously they're going to go get the box and it's going to have what they need in it. And maybe make a pitch to Faye about this is working out pretty good, and like trying to start a conversation with you where maybe you'll talk a whole lot.
Oh, okay.
That's not hard to
Maybe.
do. It's not hard to do. Is your intent
Yeah.
that I distract this
That's
person?
my hope. Yeah, that would be really nice. Just like
If I like kept them kind of paying attention to me and not to you, who's
That'd
maybe
be good.
behind them? Okay, yeah,
that seems kind of like the right thing because this would be a really good time to leave.
yeah. And are your thoughts that like I'll distract them and then we'll bolt, or like, well, I'll just distract them and we'll see what you do with that. So
Sounds great.
so I look at him and I'm like you got nice hoods, and you got a nice hood there. It's looks very hoodie.
I saw a hoodie in a store once.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I've never been really partial to them. I think it's partially because that abduction time when like I just don't like things that like I feel like could just get pulled over my head. But I guess you wear it pretty comfortably. It seems like you've kind of settled into that, and
Not
and I kind of get like I lean in close to him, but like I'm clearly like I got like my hands like on my chest, so it's like it's clear like I don't have a weapon or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, no, this looks like a good cut. I could see myself,
Awesome.
wearing
So
it. Do you like your HUD? How do you feel about it?
the question that I have is, who's making the move here? Is it Boz?
I could see this as a setup action for Boz to make a move, or I could see this
It
as
feels
you
like an assist,
assisting. Yeah,
right? Because you're like getting in the way and keeping his attention on you.
I think so too. I think I'm assisting.
do an assist. Yeah.
Yep. So
Boz, are you doing something? Like, are you like leaking forward? Are you?
I think as soon as Faye sort of starts getting in this individual's face, that's when Boz like dives for their waist and just wants to like knock them down and out.
Awesome.
Just
so here's the bad news. You need great effect.
Yeah.
To do that, right? Because like this is a mob thug.
Okay.
So you can get an assist.
Oh, yeah.
You can get an assist from Faye, which is +1 die, because this mob thug is kind of getting annoyed at Faye, but that means that his attention is definitely not in his peripheral,
Mhm.
something like that. Now here's how you get great effect. You can either make the situation more risky, so you can actually go to desperate, which means that you're also risking getting shot.
Okay.
Or you can push for effect. Instead of pushing for instead of pushing for +1 die, you can instead push for effect. So with standard effect, you're totally going to tackle him and beat him up some, but he's not going to get knocked out. Immediately. With great effect, he's going to be at will.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I imagine that Lauren is like kind of anxiously pacing, and when this attack comes, is shocked. Like was like facing the other direction, didn't realize this was the plan at all.
Awesome.
Would scale be a factor if Faye helps Lauren in this? Like at some point
absolutely.
where it looks like he's gonna like maybe notice. I actually like I was leaning in and just be like, I like actually tried to grab him to like bundle him up for a second so that the dive tackle, like he can't turn and twist, can't grab his blaster. Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna like.
So you've done this move before, the two of you. I feel like this is a talk 3, 2, 1, and then both of you jump one person.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah. So I feel like 2-on-1. This means that you have scale advantage. That'll push your effect up to great.
Cool.
Boz's starting ability is unstoppable. So in close combat, you're equal in scale to a small gang. I don't know what they mean.
Ooh.
Well, it means you don't need me to add scale. Buzz is
Of course I do.
Scale all on your own.
It's true. All right, cool. So, actually, Unstoppable's changed a little bit, so I'll read you the updated rules. We can.
Very good.
You can push yourself to either perform a physical feat that verges on the superhuman, or engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat. But I will remind you that you also have the ability Battleborn, which allows you to take a free push So you can either save Battleborn for armor, which you might get shot if you don't roll well enough, or you can actually use it to push yourself to get an extra die or an effect level up to you.
Please help me make this decision. I think I want to get an extra die now.
Yep,
think.
that's probably the right choice.
Okay.
Sean, is it okay if Faye also jumps in for the scale and then the Battleborn becomes the extra +1 die?
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, awesome.
Yeah. Well, unstoppable triggers whenever you push yourself anyway.
Oh,
so
never mind. Yes. So
we're kind of like, we've got scale in spades at this point. I mean, I want Faye to do this with Boz because I think it's fun that they do it together. But it's
Yeah.
clear that like Faye is the face of this and not really participating in a substantial way.
It's still significant. It's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're at risky great effect because of unstoppable.
And you're going to be rolling with +1 die, and I will ask you if you want a gambit, to spend a gambit for this. I feel like you guys have enough gambits. Tactically, this might be a good time because you're pretty close to finishing up this delicious looking pizza clock.
Ooh,
Oh,
pizza clock. So yeah, then I'm into spinning a gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So go ahead.
You're gonna have a total of 3 bonus dice because I was helping. You're pushing.
Oh my
and we're
goodness.
spinning up.
Actually, are you spending the stress for the assist, Sean? Yes?
I did.
All right, perfect. So yes, 3 bonus dice.
All right, so this is going to be scrap at risky, and
Great
then great effect, and then bonus dice 3.
Yep.
Correct, you got it.
All
Boom.
bonus dice. Oh no,
Still
swell.
a 5.
All
So
fives.
despite all your effort, he's going to be knocked out cold, but despite all your efforts, he manages to draw his pistol, and he's
Yeah.
not you, who is totally in control of the situation, but Faye.
Oh no.
Not good.
So this is the point in the story when you, for example, can say nope.
Yeah, I think Faye will. Faye is not a great scrapper, but she's a pretty good getting the heck out of the wear. And
Do you want to nope? Because Boz can nope and save you.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally fair. Yeah,
I don't know how you folks want to handle this. It's up to you.
I'm happy to dive for cover, but if you would like Boz to see this coming and get in the way of it and struggle with them and do all that, I think that's also super props too. So you can do a protect.
What if the situation is such that, so I'm imagining Faye is at the front of this guy, maybe has like pulled his hood over his face the way he mentioned hoodies do. And then
Brilliant.
I love it.
and then Boz goes to jump for him, and I am behind him. I hear this happen, and I see him pull a gun that maybe no one else does, and so I go for the gun.
That sounds great. Would you like to do the resist then to save your teammate? That's called a protect action. It's totally
Nice.
legal.
Yeah, I would
Awesome.
like to do that.
That's awesome.
So you're
Love
going to
it.
be making, this is a physical action, so you're going to be making a prowess resist here, and I'm going to say that if you pull the gun, I'm just going to, so you sometimes when the opponent is strong enough or the level of damage is too great, instead of succeeding in removing the damage entirely, you just reduce it by 1 level. So because this was a risky action, you would take a level 2 wound shot. And then you might be able to reduce it to a level 1 wound grazed. But because this poor guy is like overwhelmed, he's got Boz who's like a total badass, and he's got like Faye pulling the hood over, and he's basically firing wildly. I feel like if you prowess resist this, you're going to reduce the damage to 0 because he's just you guys have some overwhelming force in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and make a prowess resist.
Okay, so how do I do this?
So
I
you're going to click on the word prowess.
and I have zero bonus dice, correct?
It's not a great roll for you, but
Hey!
So you take 1 stress and you save Faye from the fate of having to be stitched up. Something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So good.
I like it. We can tell you work out with space weights.
So strong.
Mhm.
So, because this was an action that removes an obstacle from your path and allows you to run off, you finish your delicious getaway pizza clock.
Mm.
And this means that even though there are people looking for you in the city, you're out of imminent danger. Nobody's on your tail. You've still got the box, although you have to keep focusing to like not fade into the star map. And you guys book it out of that particular sector. There's still cops and people looking for you there, and there's still people like looking up leads. But we're gonna switch probably into downtime, and you guys will talk about what to do with it and so on.
Cool.
So,
Nice. So I presumably we can make it back to our ship. Is that fair? Or
so interesting that you ask that. You can make it back to your ship, but your ship is parked in a starport, presumably.
yeah, right.
And once you get back to the starport, you realize that the security in the starport is like quadrupled.
Okay.
And actually this may be the final scene. So I'm just gonna rip this right up, this getaway clock. It's all done. You guys
Bye, pizza clock.
but I swear I'm gonna draw pizza clocks now and just put them on the sheets for you folks to like click up. When you get to you folks make it to the starport, you either catch a ride or you just like walk through the lower levels, catch a bus or something. Like you're keeping on the down low. You avoid any other pursuits. You're gonna have to make it right with Aya, Boz, but there's no problems right now. But as you folks reach the starport, you realize that there's quite a bit more security than there should be. As a matter of fact, as you're walking up, you realize that there's like squads. And there's like a house Malclaith guard who's like giving orders, like sending people in different directions and whatnot. So like you folks are like there and you're like, oh, I'm just going to look at the arrivals and the departures and what's going on over there. And you realize there's in particular a squad in front of the hangar doors to your ship. What do you folks do?
Oh, there is a squad in front of the yikes. They haven't spotted us yet at the moment. Though,
Not
right?
yet, no.
We don't see
You're starting in a somewhat controlled situation because you finished your clock and you weren't under like deadly fire when you used it.
Right. I kind of turn and like, I think we're gonna need a distraction, something shiny. And she says that she's realizing that she's like glittering. She's like, damn it. That's not what I meant. Damn it.
Something.
So you could distract them. Just as a point of note, just to pepper this around, any number of things is possible. You can sneak in through the vents. You could try and get another ship to drop you off or something. I don't know. Like anything's on the table here.
Yeah.
This door is not the only path and the only path to your ship. It's just
I misunderstood. I thought that like they were standing in front of our ship.
Well, there might be. You don't know. But what I'm envisioning, if you'll all go back to the time of the original Star Wars movie, I imagine one of those hangar bays where your ship is like on the ground and there's like a big set of doors in front of it. So like your ship is parked, you've paid your docking fees. This is where like maintenance crews come. There's probably like some stuff to refuel your ship. And as you folks like walked out, these like giant doors close, and that's usually where they like bring in like loaders and things like that to like try and put goods on ships and so on. Because you guys are ostensibly a cargo vessel. And so those doors are closed, and in front of those doors, there's a squad of people. But this is a pretty big area. This is a starport, right? Like there's probably maybe 24 or more like landing pads that are for private citizenry like yourselves. There are larger, like a couple of larger ships, a couple of smaller ships. There's like the usual transport fare that brings people up into orbit or is taking them elsewhere.
Yeah.
You definitely see. So like the planet that you're on is actually fairly wealthy, which means that the technology level is also a little high. So you'll see like holograms saying like, are you looking for a job? The guild is always hiring, and like things like that. And then you like
citizens,
take a vacation on the lovely forests of Amarath. And like, there's all that stuff. And there's
nice
arrivals, departures. You see like families hugging each other and things like that. You see like large ships that are like essentially like space buses landing and so on.
Cool.
So there's plenty of cover. You guys aren't like immediately spotted out or anything. But if you have to get into like the private sectors or scan your cards or like try to walk through the main doors, they're going to see you.
Yep. Got it.
Well, I think immediately I pull us around the corner so
Awesome.
Smart.
We're
The
not
two of us are busy being
yeah.
maybe, right? Just I can Baz is like, I don't want to do any of this anymore. Just think
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Faye's trying to figure out why Baz is like not. I don't think she's quite put two and two together. Doesn't know Baz's. I mean, obviously there was something going on, but so she's like, are you okay? I mean, I know this is not great, but are you okay? Like she thinks like maybe upset about the
Sure.
the job. So she's trying to like kind of suss it out, but I don't think so much so that like it isn't something that could just be brushed off because there's so many other more imminent threats right now. Like she's not going to press it at the moment because, you know.
Right, sure. And I think it's fine. Right, just later. It's fine. Just back and forth between those two. And
Right. All right. Are you sure it's fine? It's fine.
I'm just like, it's fine. You know what? It's fine. We need to figure out how to get to our ship.
Okay.
That's what we need to do. We can deal with Boz later.
Why do
Whatever's going on.
You don't like that ship anyway. But I want to go.
Yes, but it's our way off of this planet.
It's a great ship.
So
Stardancer. Stardancer is my baby. All right. And I don't leave my baby behind. No, I'm not going to say it.
Well, so what do you think? How can we get in there?
There's got to be another way to there's got to be another service entrance or something like that. We can sidle through.
Mm-hmm.
Just look like we belong, and Faye
Utilities again?
looks dubious. Like how many guards are there in front of the? How many?
5 or 6, but
Yeah.
it looks like if I had to make a reference, it definitely looks like one of them is in like captain's clothes, but most of them look like they're like in armor and stuff. So they're like they're actually station security, but it because this is a spaceport and it deals with space, which means like interplanetary, intersystem. There's some Legion folks there.
Yeah.
But these people are not like in power armor, like ready for war, but they're like station security, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it looks
Right.
like a House Malclay person is ordering them around.
Right. I mean, we could just go talk to them and find out what they want.
Absolutely not. We've been seeing enough on this planet in shady enough of circumstances that these people probably know who we are.
All
He's
right.
right.
All right. Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna be able to get the Stardancer out of port, even if we get to it. Like they might have it locked down.
Mm.
Maybe we should consider just.
You may, I just want to put this out there. If you have enough rig, you may be able to like literally physically remove the lock. And if you have enough hack, you might be able to physically hack the system so that it releases the lock.
Yeah.
This is not the first time you've had to.
Jimmy, our like
I'm
take
just saying.
take the
I'm
boot
just
off
saying.
of our ship.
Create our own exit.
Yeah.
So here's what I think. I think we should create a distraction, something that's more pressing to these guards than we might be. Because as far as they know, we're not here. But if there was something else going on in the starport, like say a robbery or a murder or just like a hoopla of some kind.
Hooplas are good.
Yeah,
Hooplas are
maybe we could incite a hoopla.
Faye prefers all of these. Faye prefers hoopla to robbery or murder. Those are both things she's like, yeah, hoopla, yeah.
I'm down with hoopla.
I know how to do the other ones, but
Brendan is appreciating your offers. Well, okay. They're all communicating over communicator type devices. They all like in terms of the way they're talking to each other. Kerfuffle, autofish. That's a good one.
yeah,
Is that right, Josh? That they're all sort of talking over
comms
of some sort, or would that be a standard expectation that they would be?
Yeah, they can be, absolutely. So you can easily like either try and steal or hack a comm. I mean, there is always the classic: grab 2 guards, drag them into a toilet, grab their outfits, stuff. I mean, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of hoopla you're thinking of, but yeah, you could definitely steal.
Well,
I
I'm
was
thinking if
thinking
we
like a
stole a
food
comm, we
fight.
could say like, "There's a thing going on over here.
Ah.
You know, we need your help."
redirect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how are you going to steal a comm? Are you just going to walk by one and lift one nicely skulk-like? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so. I think we're gonna look for like another guard that's not in front of the hangar, that's by themselves, and
Maybe I'll ask him directions And while I'm talking to him, one of you guys can sneak
Maybe
past.
your scoundrel can try and lift it off of his.
This sounds like an assist, right?
Mm.
So, Lauren, this is not the first time you've perhaps had to do this, but you kind of know that instead of going for one of these clusters of guards who are like clearly in front of doors or like inspecting people or like standing where like people have to come through like the little like when you have to go through like security at an airport, this is space security, sorry. So instead of going through one of those, you look around and you're like, officer's bar or something like that.
Nice.
You basically go where some of the guards are basically like taking their ease. So there's like somebody who's like in the armor and the get up, but like has their helmet off and like maybe has like popped off like a like opened up their coat so that like, you know, they air out a little bit, and they're having a, I don't know, maybe like a Shimayan whiskey of some kind. And so yeah, so you see, you look around and you see like one person who's like totally drinking by themselves, and this feels like a good opportunity for you. So how do you chat them up?
Right. So I think I sidle up to him and kind of say like, hard day, huh? And just,
no idea.
Oh,
God.
I've heard stories.
It's like, yeah, fucking house guards thinking like they own the place. I mean, I outrank him. He like looks at you and it's obvious that he's had like one or two, right? Even though he's probably not supposed to. So yeah, he looks at you. He's like, yeah, house guards giving us orders. Like they do you know how many years I worked to get my rank? They acted like they own us. You know?
Yeah, it seems like you've been doing this maybe since the day you were born. You like, how dare they boss you around?
Nice. Awesome. And I think I'm pulling up to like the bar behind him. Like I'm like, you know, space martini sour, right? And and you know, blue milk special. And
so I think they give you like the little martini glass, but like the little stick has a planet on it so that you know that it's a space martini.
Yes.
It's got like a little ring that floats.
Oh, right.
It's the best cocktail onion ever.
Yes. So as I'm like slurping it through the little planetary orbit straw, and it's like lighting up the thing as it goes.
Oh, nice! I love it. Startini, yes.
Startini, yes. Startini.
There we have it.
Thanks, Brandon. That's when I like sidle. That's when I like get behind him. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, as I go to like drink, like I maybe had too much, and with Lauren's distraction, try and pull that.
Cool. So Lauren, you should spend 1 stress, and it sounds like you're doing a skulk at a +1 D.
Cool.
Nice.
So unfortunately, all of your devil's bargains are additional heat or perhaps maybe just limited time. These are all things that I'm coming up with. I don't know if you just want to push yourself or take a gambit or just make a straight roll.
I think I could go for a push as well.
Okay. So
I don't
2
think
stress +1 D. So you're going to be rolling skulk +1 +2 for the push.
Yep. All right. And is this risky?
It's risky, and the risk, of course, is that this person basically like notices that you're lifting the object.
Yeah.
So on a 4 to 5, it'll be in your hand. But yeah.
Right. Awesome. So let's go risky, standard, and 2 bonus dice. Bada boom. Oh my goodness, I am not hitting it. Okay, well, hey, at least those extra bonus dice.
So I'm going to describe a thing, and we'll wait for the moment when you go no. So you pick up his comm, and you turn around to walk away, and actually, this dude is so distracted by Lauren's charm and wit, and
Lauren's got a lot of charm and wit.
Oh yeah. He doesn't.
He is a charming, witty guy.
This is totally not what the risk comes to bear as. The problem is that you walk into 2 guards that are walking in, and as you look up, you realize that one of them is wearing House Malclaith colors and like immediately recognizes you.
Nice.
That's the 4 to 5. You have the comms; it's in your hand, but That's your consequence.
But I got a small Claith person right in front of me. Oh man,
So
do I want to
this
say?
is a problem of surprise. So it feels like insight.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I want to
you want to
resist it.
resist. If not,
Yeah. Right, because I mean, I kind of want to find out what Alice Claith wants, and if this isn't, how many are there? Is it just one person, or is it a couple?
2. It's yeah. You know what? I'll make it easy. No, it's just one. It's just the house mom.
Okay, I'm gonna take it. Let's see what happens. I'm
right,
Faye looks up and she's like, oh, because I don't know that every house Claith person knows every, like, they wear insignia. We don't. I don't know if like we're on wanted at posters or not. So
you kind of are.
we kind of
totally recognize.
Oh.
It's fine. It happens. Awesome. So I look up and I'm like, oh, hi there. Or I think actually she's a little too stunned for that. I don't think she's quite like that flippant.
Well,
She's
actually, it takes a second because you see like him look at you, and then he's like he goes to say something like, "Sorry, ma'am," and like just brush past you, but then like pauses, looks in your face again, and then like pulls up like one of those tablets from his like side, and like those of us who are watching the show so like can see from his point of view the tablet. From your side it just looks like dark glass, but from his side you can definitely see like your photo and like a little mini dossier and things like that, and he goes, "You what do you do?"
awesome. So this is the perfect setup action for my
Hoopla?
for my hoopla, which is I give Boz like signal like go to the ship, and I'm like you. I try to like draw a bunch because he knows who I am. Not everybody else here does, and I'm like, get your hands off me. You have no right to treat me like that, and I just bolt out. And I will be the distraction, and I want to get on the comm. I'm trying to do several things. Obviously, at the moment, I just want to run, but while I'm doing it, I want to get on the comm and say, we spotted one of them in the whatever corridor that I'm not actually going down, but that like I can see that way to get the rest of them all covered.
They're coming out the east entrance. East entrance, I said. West entrance. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So I realize there's several things involved there, but
we're just going to do 2 quick rolls, and we'll see how they go. They
Recorded.
might snowball into further moves. The first move is you're going to give me a scramble roll to get away from this guy's particular grab, and also to like turn corners a couple of times so that you have a couple of seconds to say these things without like 15 people chasing you.
yeah, awesome. All right, so let's start with this.
Soup lot time.
I think that like when you yell like get your hands off me to the guard, I kind of like nudge my companion who's like, oh, this is House Claith guy, and I'm gonna give him some trouble too. So I like will intervene a little bit and like confront him about inappropriately touching women he doesn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
So maybe give him a second or two where he has to like excuse himself or be flustered.
Nice.
So this feels like another assist. Is that what you're aiming for there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So mark 1 more stress, and you have +1 die to your scramble there.
Awesome. Let's do it. Scramble. Risky, I assume. Desperate?
Yeah, no, it's not desperate because it would be desperate if he had hands on you. It's risky because there's going to be a bunch of people chasing you, but this is one of those scenarios where you have the lead because you already know where you're running and what you're doing, and they're just starting to jog. Plus, they're in heavy armor, and they're what we would term heavy load, which means that they're slower than you, even if they're military, and they can keep up the pace for a little while.
Nice. Awesome.
So this is one case where the NPCs wearing more gear actually hurts them. Haha.
Right. Well, and if he does get his hand on me, I'll use my fine coat. No, never mind. That's not all right. Risky standard effect.
Yes, +1 die from the
Oh,
assist.
let's see. Oh no. That's poor.
Cool. So I think that there's this moment where you're like, I think I lost them. And you're like, we get the yakety sax music. And you're like, they're chasing you, and you're running, and then you're like hiding behind some crates as you see like guards run by. And you're like, sweet. And you're like, they went out the east entrance. And you like either toss the comm or like throw it in a pocket, and you go to run around the corner. And this is that moment in Star Wars where Han Solo comes dashing around the corner, and there's an entire squad of people. What do you do? So you're like, oh, my way to the ship is completely cut off. And we're going to leave it there, and we're going to switch back to the other two. You
Nice.
folks have a closed door in front of your ship, and all of the guards in that door are currently chasing your other crewmate. What are the two of you, Lauren and Boz, doing?
I think I'm going to try to hack this door to open it so that we have a getaway once Faye presumably gets away from the
Hopefully
car.
gets back. I don't know. If they-
That sounds okay. So hacking is a lot like magic. You just walk up to the terminal, and this is not super sophisticated guild tech. This is some basic interfaces for opening the roof above your ship and opening the doors here, that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
do you want to give me a quick hack roll? I'm going to say that this is risky, but the risk is less, well, you might set off alarms, and you might also attract attention to the fact that you've got wires hooked up to this terminal.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know about wires. Maybe you have one of those, like, well, actually, you tell me, what does your hacking rig look like?
I think I have like a little kind of input device that does have wires that I kind of can
So you do
attach
actually
it.
like pop it open and run wires in? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So
I like wired technology and in space uppers. I like physical things where you're not just like, oh, everything's wireless, everything's
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if this was like a weird disc with like an input socket, and then you put a thing in, and then you have like a thing that communicates with it wireless or something. It's totally up to you.
No, I think it has wires,
Cool.
and I think that it also maybe has an artifact in it that is sometimes useful and sometimes isn't. But
Nice.
that it doesn't just know technology. It's got a little extra oomph to it.
Kick. All right, cool.
Okay, so my effect is standard.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna push
Okay,
for
that's
this
2
because
stress.
this means 2 stress.
Yep, a push is
Yeah.
2 stress.
Okay, and when I fill up my stress, I get a trauma. Isn't that true?
That is correct. So
Or
this
is it
will
if I
not
get
be-
past that? So maybe I won't.
No, it's the very last tick actually traumas you. This is a lot like XP in Apocalypse World, unfortunately.
Okay, then
Maybe, maybe not.
I
push.
might not push for this.
But you might be able to get an assist from Boz, or we could
Mhm.
talk about a devil's bargain.
Mm.
Let's see. What would help? What would an assist look like at this point? I don't know if that's as simple as like trying to like downplay our presence.
You could stand in front of Lauren and sort of like block view so that people can't see that there's wires being connected and stuff.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a fine plan. I'll just
And I think
be
also
in the way.
calming me down a little bit might help because I think I'm
Sure.
freaking out a little bit, and I'm really good at this when I'm calm. Like
Yeah.
I did really well at hacking in school,
Yeah.
but I've not been in situations like these.
Awesome. So
Lauren does great. Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Some soothing words and compliments about being like telling that Malt, that green suited goon, and holding him up, right? Everything's great. We're done.
All right, great. So
so
this
Vaz, take a stress. You're gonna get
Yes.
+1 die to your hacking. Now I'm gonna tell you a thing. If you want a devil's bargain, I have a devil's bargain for you.
I already rolled, and
Okay, that's totally fine.
I got
Well,
a 6.
Yay!
No consequences. So the soothing words come in,
Yes.
and the view is blocked, and it puts you on even keel just enough that you totally hack the terminal perfectly. The system is not alerted. Nothing untowards happens. You don't hear alarms blaring. The doors just open peacefully. You just hear that, and they open as if they're supposed to. And sure enough, inside we see the Stardancer. So now we pause for a split second because this is the first time on the show we see the ship.
Da-da-da.
Yes!
Nice. This is
So
important.
awesome. Let's talk
They
about
may get
this.
arrested, but it's important that we see this ship.
What does the Stardancer look like?
What does the Stardancer look like?
Well, we do have an image from the game. I don't know if that's the default look. I was certainly not opposed to it. I like the
All right,
little.
cool. I don't know, Sean. Do you have a thing that? Oh, actually, I can drag a sheet. Hang on.
No, I've got it pulled up.
Yeah, Jory's got it.
Yeah, it's I've got our all of us up, which has the which has the image on the main screen.
Oh, that's right.
So this is our main screen view right now. Yeah, so there's like these giant sort of anti-grav hover pod flat things on the edge that like where the engines, I think they can oscillate around to go on either side. And the image right there, they're up at the top, but I think they can kind of come down. And
There is actually a second set on the bottom.
Oh, nice.
Generate the bubble for when you go through hyperspace.
Yeah. So the second set like is so these flat planes that like that's where the plasma blasts like fire out for the sort of atmospheric lift. And there's lots of things that look pointy on the ends, which seem like they could be guns, but they're not. They're cargo.
Are broken the comms?
Yeah, so actually that's very important. Every ship has comms. Your comms systems are not super high tech and you don't have like cool robotics to help them. They're actually antenna because particularly when you're going through hyperspace, readings ahead in space are very important. So a lot of ships have pointy bits even if they don't necessarily shoot stuff out of them. Not to say that in a different S&D game, the crew of the Stardancer may or may not have weapons. But at the moment, this one does not.
Yeah.
So super important to me. What are the colors of your ship?
So good.
I think there's quite a lot of colors because I feel like our ship is probably a little bit Frankensteined. Like there are bits of other ships.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
Faye has anything to say about it, it's got like a emerald blue racing stripe on it somewhere. But it might not be contiguous. It might be like
It
and then stop because there's a part that we
Like welded on.
Yeah. and then it keeps going from on the other side, right? It's faded and chipped in places, but
Awesome. So I hear was it like a brilliant blue racing stripe?
yeah.
Is there a predominance of metallic colors like rusts, different shades of rust? Is there like
I think there's a lot of that.
more blues? Is there some like silver? Is there black? What's the hue that when we see the Stardancer? What's its kind of like
Oh gosh.
overwhelming color? Is it a winter ship or a summer ship? I'm really bad at this, but yeah.
You aren't bad at this at all. Well, so like if we got all these like rust and ochre and like browns and tans and repaired spots and like these bright shiny marks of like those kind of slipshod welds that haven't been
Nice.
like painted over, and then there's like this like it's kind of a stripe. We're getting there. So like that plus that like big lovely blue, and then like just the patchwork of other colors that don't quite like.
I love the contrast between ochre and blue. Like in my mind, in particular, that cool versus the warm color is just really nice.
Yeah, I think maybe the original color of the original ship, which we don't have a lot of anymore, is kind of like a brick red or a burgundy, like kind of a deep red color.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, cool. So we see the ship, and fortunately for you, there are no additional guards inside the hangar. There may or may not be cameras, but you don't even know if somebody's paying attention to those cameras at this moment. What do you two fine folks do?
Boz, do you know how to pilot this ship?
I mean, I could try. I mean, it's not. That's Faye's job.
Okay, can you get it?
Yes, sure.
Can you get it ready to go so that Faye can run in here, run onto the ship, and we can take off as soon as she sits down at that pilot's chair?
I do that every day. Absolutely.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go try to help her get here.
Yeah.
You stay ready.
Yes.
Bear in mind that your ship is still landlocked. Someone's going to have to deal with that, whether mechanically by physically removing the boots or by hacking them.
Okay, well then I'm probably going to take care of that before I go try to help Faye.
Awesome. So
That's good.
you can. How are you going to attempt to help with that?
What if I just blast them with my blaster? Because I do have one. Will that?
I'm gonna say it's probably not gonna work because these things are designed to hold a ship, and a blaster is designed to damage a human. So it's a question of scale of such a differential that it's the equivalent of trying to shoot like a pistol into a wall. You're going to make a hole, but it's not going to be enough to like bring down the side of the house kind of thing, right? Like these are big kind of industrial sized locks.
Okay. I think in
I'll
that
give it a
case,
go. Like if you like go for your pistol and like think about it, and I go, hold on, right, and like go scramble over to the wall or like some tools that were left out, right, and just try to use whatever pry bar or handy dandy fancy Wismo-gig tool somebody left laying out because they were sloppy.
Space wrench.
That's
The space wrench.
Wismo-gig tool is standard issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every toolkit's got one. So you pull out a Wismo-gig and maybe even a second Wismo-gig that you can
Oh, surely.
like, get the one over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
can mark that you have repair tools if you want. Or
I probably am carrying something, but
Awesome. So what this sounds like is a rig roll with the potential of having the other person assist.
sounds great.
Either one of you can do it.
I'm no good at rigging. So
Do you have a stress to assist with?
I do have a stress to assist with.
A stress.
Careful.
Do you wish to do that? You don't have to.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we've seen. So Lauren, I just want to know this. You started from the scummy areas, and then you were raised up, right? Like you were in an orphanage, then you became H&N, then you got used to a life of luxury, and then you investigated somebody who you probably shouldn't have too closely, and now you're on the lam, as it were.
Mhm.
How often have you had to like roll up your sleeves and actually do like mechanical work? What does this look like? Are you happy to do it? Is this a thing that you seem comfortable with? Like you've had a weird story or two that you've had to do it for? Or is this?
I don't think it's something that I've had to do very much. I think that it's a skill that helped me out in college. That like I was among silver spoon folks who didn't know how to do physical labor, and so it was something that helped me get an in. But I haven't done it for a while.
So do we see like you rolling up your sleeves and saying something like, "Oh, I haven't done this in a bit," but or
Yeah, I think so. And it's like I hope I remember how this all works.
awesome. So are you willing to spend that one stress? Did I hear that right? Andy, Boz gets +1d to the rig roll here.
Awesome. All right. So that's going to be a rig roll. And then what position is rig?
Well, I'm going to say that the position is risky, where the risk is that you're going to take too long to do this, and we're going to see what happens then. Or you might set off an alarm because you are removing boots that you're not supposed to. That's the risk. This is a risky position.
Awesome.
Of course, the question is, do you wish to spend a gambit? Which I believe you guys are down to 2 at this point, which I should adjust your.
Yeah. I may want 1 for the whole chase down by 15.
Getting out of there.
But but I just want 1. So
So if you wish to use 1.
Yeah, let's spin that gambit. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So that means you're getting +1 die for the gambit, +1 die for the assist.
Great. Effect is standard.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
So then 2 bonus dice. All right?
Correct. Yep.
All right.
you got this.
Let's do this.
We believe in you. Let's see it.
Yes.
Yes!
Oh, not only do you do it, you crit.
So
Yeah.
you get an additional effect. You two dismantle this so fast that you A, don't set off any alarms, and B, this is the cool part, you also manage to show Lauren how to open up the roof above. So like Lauren's like cranking and like the roof is like slowly starting to open a foot at a time, and you're running inside and like starting up the ignition sequence and like punching in the overrides. It's like cold start, go. So crit effect.
Gorgeous.
All right,
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
So meanwhile, back at our scene, with the camera switches over, and you see like 24 of these guards, and they see you coming around the corner. You're like, whoa!
Exactly.
They're all gonna start like get her, and they're gonna start trying to like jump over and catch you.
Right. Awesome. So I want to turn tail and run the other direction, obviously. But in order to like say not be clobbered by the dudes immediately, should I resist? Because I mean, obviously I did fail.
I should have more aggressively pushed. What I say is they leap. One of them catches your
Yes.
waist, and even though you like manage to like a club him or something, another one grabs your fine coat and is pulling you back. So yes,
Yeah, there we go.
Here might be over.
Yeah, sounds good. So Faye will, knocks one off, and then when he when one grabs a coat, she's like, "Don't touch the coat!" And this time she like smacks the guy. She has this like heavy bracer on her arm, and she's like, this like pisses her off that he's like grabbed her coat. She her emerald blue coat, fitted leather. She smacks him and then runs. So I want to resist the I'm caught by a bunch of dudes, and then I would, assuming that works.
Physical roll. Regardless of what happens, you're going to be free of the restraints.
Yeah. Awesome. That's this is the thing I am good at. Rolling prowess. All right. Well, it wasn't great. I take 2 stress, but I'd do it. And now I am having now I want totally that scene where like I run one way, chased by some guys, and then turn around and see run past the other way.
So this is a risky scramble, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're gonna make it to this ship, but maybe if you roll less than a 4 or 5, you're probably gonna be cornered, and that's gonna turn ugly. But if you roll a 4 or 5, you'll make it to the ship. You'll just have some people in tow.
I am okay with that. That's not a bad result. I don't know that I want to push myself.
How's that stress?
That stress is climbing up there. Stress is at 5 right now.
Are you sure? I mean, you get away clean. The last shot of the game is going to be that ship heading for Atmo.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like all of those things. Well, before I push, let me ask you the question: do you have a devil's bargain to offer me in this chase? I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I do have a devil's bargain.
Okay.
The devil's bargain is as follows: while you are mostly being chased by minks, Malklaith's personal guard is like the person that stands next to him and is like the trained dude what murders other dudes what to try to kill the governor. He's here and he's going to show up in the mix. And so if you make it to the ship with people in tow, he's going to be one of the people in tow.
I'll take it.
Of course you will.
Nice.
Yeah.
You just created a solid NPC that's never going to give up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those are the ones I love the most.
All right, got it. Cool.
Yep. All right, so I'm scrambling and risky. I'm taking 1 bonus die. Oh my goodness! These dice are not liking me. Okay.
Cool. So I think that there's this moment where you get away from one set of guards,
Yep.
get away from the next set of guards, and you're booking for the doors of the hangar where you start hearing the engines coming on. And as you're like,
yes!
oh yeah, gonna make it. And sure enough, this like arm comes out of nowhere and you just see the ceiling, you see the ground, and then you see this dude stand up. And yeah, he's definitely like the governor's own personal bodyguard standing above you. It's like having a headsman, right? Like everybody's heard stories about this person. As a matter of fact, he has a helmet on, and there's a rumor that he's a Xeno that breathes an alien atmosphere. There's other people that say that he's like lived for 100 years. There's all sorts of crazy stories. Nobody's sure who exactly this dude is, but he's standing above you, and yeah, like you get that like palm imprint in your chest, and yeah, he like smashes you into the ground. No damage. He's basically just trying to like capture you, right? So like you've got a split second to react. Inside the hangar, looking out, you can see this happening. Like this is that shot, right? Where like
we can't see this.
You can. This is a shot of like Luke and the crew like coming up, and like Vader comes up in front of Ben Kenobi. This is our equivalent of Vader.
Yeah. Right.
What do you
Well,
folks
so this is I want to resist. I think it's probably gonna trauma me, but I don't want him to capture me.
do?
So
Resist.
yeah, so I'm going to resist, and the way I'm going to do it is when he's over me. This is where we get to see that heavy bracer that Faye wears. It like she panics and she puts her hands up like I give up, and it opens. It opens because there's actually a precursor item. It opens and out of it pops sort of Star-Lord style, like instead of like this thing wrapped around his head, this thing wrapped around her hand, and she squeezes it, and this huge like plasma blast flies out of this hand cannon, not necessarily at him, but just like up into the ceiling right in front of him so that she can slip away.
Cool.
So that's my attempt.
Can we totally have like some like badass martial artist like do like a crazy backflip like to like dodge the plasma blast and then like land on his hand, land on his feet, and like skid to a stop like 10 feet away?
We totally can have this.
Yeah, that's totally what happens. So now we get to find out if our dearest scoundrel traumas. Go ahead, make a resistance roll. Prowess, obviously.
Yep. Here we go. All right. I don't
One
trauma.
stress.
Take 1 stress.
2 5s is what we jokingly refer to as a poor man's crit.
Yes, the poor man's crit.
It does nothing.
It does nothing for you. You could feel good about almost getting a crit.
Awesome. So I believe that Baz is on the ship. Lauren, you have just finished opening the majority of that, like the doors above the ship, so that you guys can take off. And you look down the corridor and you see Faye in trouble, and you see this like freaking badass there. What are you folks doing? Like there's this like moment of like crystallized in time, right? Like where everyone's like, and then who does what?
I mean, I think I'm yelling at her, just like, come on. And I get out my my blaster and I shoot some cover. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Nice.
great.
Yeah. I got no problem with you giving me cover, and then I hop up from the ground, face still unscarred enough to be spry enough that she can fall on her back and shake it off, and
Nice.
hop up off the ground and start bolting, hopefully covered by this blaster.
So
gonna settle into the.
I'm going to
pilot seat.
describe this scene as it's happening, and so you'll understand why I'm going to call what I'm going to call. So you like fire a bunch of blaster bolts, and you see this black clad figure, right? Like he like spins out, dodges left, dodges right, comes up against the wall, and then reaches behind him and pulls out essentially what looks like a handle, which obviously is a sword, right? And then he holds it out, and there's this like dimming of lights, and like the power does this like crazy flicker, and you hear this like whoosh as like the edge of the sword starts glowing. And then when he comes back around the corner, you see that like as the blaster fire starts coming into him, he's basically like doing the classic Jedi trick, right? Where he's like deflecting blaster bolts and all this crazy stuff. So because this dude is a total badass, you do have cover, but you're actually good. This is going to be a desperate roll to get past him such that he doesn't even like get in reach and you can make it to the ship.
Yeah.
So this is a desperate scramble.
Yep, I'm feeling it. I'm making one of these days. I'm gonna roll a scramble and not gonna fail. Sounds good.
Unless you have a different idea, it sounds like
it's
what you're describing as
totally a desperate scramble.
All right,
no, that's what it is.
Here we go, Faye.
Here we go for all the marbles. Are you? I know you're pretty high on stress right now, Lauren. Are you assisting me with this cover fire?
So here's what I think.
Or would that be the end?
If I take the stress, then I take a trauma. And if I did that, what I would like to do is perhaps kill an innocent on accident with my fire.
The collateral damage is a devil's bargain.
Oh, does that mean that it would be an extra die?
I would give a die for that. Technically the die would be for you, but I would be happy to transfer that as a devil's bargain, that as a team, the two of you cause some collateral damage.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not particularly part of this role, but I did just like fire a big old plasma blast up into the rafters and whatnot. And yeah, I could, and you're firing a bunch of shots. Yeah,
There's there's fire in the air, right?
Yeah.
Like
So trauma first session is a pretty bold move. I think
No.
So chat reminded me, thank you, chat. But you're making a desperate roll, so you get 1 tick in prowess. Don't forget to mark it.
Oh yeah. I will do it. But thank you,
nice.
Synthester. All right, so I'm gonna take that. Cool. Yeah, I think it's totally.
Anyway, Boz can be helpful, even though Boz is like sitting in the seat of this. I'm like, I have this half imagine like, what's a great idea? A terrible idea is to like back this thing up so that like the bay door is like closer, so everyone can get on the ship sooner.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if you just like
actually,
spin
yes.
the ship around, you know,
If you want to do that, we can have poor Lauren not trauma out, and we can have unless you want to, which is fine. But we can totally have Boz instead do the assist by maybe like turning the ship around, like doing like one of those like dropping the doors so that you folks can jump on and immediately take off or whatever.
Yeah.
I imagine I'm like sort of not in the ship, but I'm like hand on. I'm like in the door.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm there, but not.
Yeah, I don't want to bump you out if that's something you're excited about, Jory. So
yeah.
I mean, I think that seems like a really good idea, and you have plenty of stress.
That one.
that
one.
Okay, that's fair. So Boz, do you want to do the assist?
Okay.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. I still say we go for collateral damage. I still say you turning the ship around. It's supposed to like go up all nice and smooth, and you're spinning around and
firing engines through those bay doors and stuff for a second.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a lot bigger than the things I move around. Yeah.
Would you like collateral damage, which will translate to bonus heat as a devil's bargain there?
Yes, indeed.
Awesome.
Right?
So cool. So Faye, you have +1 devil's bargain die, and you have +1 assist die, and I believe that the ship is now out of gambits at the moment.
No, we have 1 left.
We have 1 left.
Yeah, but I plan on using that to fly us the heck out of here. So.
All right. So. 0 gambits, or are you using the gambit here? Or
I'm not using it here. We still have 1 left. I'm not gonna use it. So I'm taking the 2 bonus dice, and we're going to hope that I can. Oh, okay. Well, at least I got higher than a damn 3. So.
All right. Cool.
Is that a very, very poor man's
It's a
script?
very poor man's script.
Extremely poor man's script.
All right. So let me think about this. I think, well, obviously, clearly, the deal is that you make it to the ship. Oh, I know exactly what happens. I think that you're like running past this dude, and he's like doing that like crazy spin and like deflecting blaster bolts and everything. And the sword comes at you, and you do like one of those like great top-down shots where the sword is coming this way, and you do like a power slide under it. But he cuts off one piece of your jewelry, right? And you like power slide, and you're running back for the ship, and you jump up and you grab onto the ship. The ship like tilts up, and like you guys are starting to like lift up. And he kneels down to the ground and picks it up and looks at it, and then looks at the ship, almost like there's a
sympathetic connection.
Yes. Because while your crew doesn't have a mystic, mystics with visions can track people via.
No, this is perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better than for this dude to have a way to track us through the galaxy. I do not resist that at all. I love that.
Awesome. So you're on the ship, but you're the pilot. Would you like to make that final home roll?
Yeah.
To keep you away from any escapades or Legion blockades or anything like that?
I'm gonna gun it, and I'm gonna roll good this time.
Do it.
Risky, controlled, desperate.
I feel like this is risky. No, this is controlled. This is controlled. If you make this roll, you're scot-free. Largely because this means that you get far enough away that you can engage cloak.
Yep.
Because if you guys didn't have a cloaking device, this is risky, where a failure in risky will probably lead to a desperate scenario. But I feel like right now it's controlled because you have a much smaller area that you need to cover, and they're not prepared for your ship to just drop off radar. Like, that's not a thing. They researched you. They didn't research the stuff they're not supposed to know. So
nice. All right.
So good job in having a cloaking device.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is, I was thinking. Yeah. Thanks for getting us, Lauren. All right. I'm gonna spend that gambit.
Do it. So you're at 0 gambits.
Yes. Yes, and it doesn't.
Yay!
That's exactly what you need. You spend the last bit of luck, and
Oh,
we
good.
see the we hear the chatter. We see a Legion ship in orbit, like turning around, and then we see your ship glitter like a couple of pieces of stars, and then just vanish into the star field.
Nice.
And I think that's a great final scene to maybe wrap it up and do XP on. Is that cool?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds great.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna do XP. We do character XP first, and then crew XP. So let's just pop right through it. Sean, I'm gonna put you on the spot because you made that last roll. You're gonna go first, so we're gonna do the scoundrels XP first. So go ahead.
Sounds good. All right. So my XP triggers are you adjust a tough challenge with charm or audacity. I think I was both charming and audacious, honestly. The charm came with the conning the cops and conning Aya in particular into going and detouring them. And the audacity, I would say, I think the running from 50 jillion dudes and like diving around and ducking through things was my audacious moves. So I'm claiming both of those as my birthright.
So I will totally agree with 2 XP here. That sounds pretty great to me. Unless the table actually gets to do this, I'm not really super involved, other than to remind you of cool scenes where something may have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that XP works is if you did a thing at all, that's one of your XP triggers. You get 1 XP. If you did it multiple times, or you did it in such a big booming way that everyone thinks it's like super extra awesome, you get 2 XP for that particular trigger. And you can put XP anywhere. If you put XP in your personal advancements, you get a cool new power. And if you put it in one of the 3 columns, prowess, insight, or resolve, when you fill up that column, you're going to get another tick in a skill. So, Sean, that's 2 XP for that. There's
Cool.
What's your second trigger? This is the same for everyone.
Yeah, this is the same for everybody. You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. And because this was our opening game, we got all of our our early exposition things, and the 2 important background elements for me were the fact that Baz and Faye have this long connection, and they've like worked out these signals, and like they've done all these things together. To me, that was like an important thing that we reiterated that. And I ask others. That one was very strong to me. A not quite as strong one was a very strong desire to not be contained. I mean, there was like possibilities of us like just handing it over, and it wasn't specifically an action, but it was a very intentional inaction that we were never Faye was never considering the option of we could just hand this thing over to somebody. It was like, no, we are getting out of here and then figuring it out on our own. There's a very strong independent streak for her, but I don't know if that came out. If it did, I would take it. If it didn't, I'm happy to play that up next time. But,
what do you guys feel? 1, 2 XP?
I don't really know.
I'll say 1 then. No,
I totally forgot about this part of the game,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was not paying attention.
No.
That's totally fine.
I feel like you take the 1, and if people are like, yeah, then you take the 2, and if people are
That
like,
sounds fair. Sean, 1 XP.
Yeah.
And the last one is if you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas. We didn't get a chance to vice this time, and I don't think you have a trauma yet.
Nope, no trauma yet, and my vice certainly will come into play, but has not. So
for those of you playing the first time, and also for those of you in chat, trauma is the secret sauce for getting more XPs. So,
Yep.
But our group is new. They're still fresh-faced and not full of traumas, and life has not worn them down. They're not grizzled veterans.
So I took 3 XP. I had 1 more. I had 1 in prowess from the desperate actions. I put all of them in prowess because I would like to raise up my helm so that when I say I'm the pilot, I'm actually pretty decent at it, rather than sort of an oversight.
Right.
So that was that.
That's that.
Nice.
Andy, Baz, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Walk me through this.
Cool. So usually the way that I like to do it, Sean was tanking. He's been the champ there. But usually the way that I like to do it is you read the trigger and then you ask the table whether you get 1 or 2 XP, and people will usually be like, "Oh yeah, when you did that thing, that was that." So I don't believe that you.
Awesome.
I don't believe that you did any desperate actions. So no XP off of that. But what's your
Right.
first trigger?
So the first trigger is when you address a tough challenge with force or threats.
So I don't feel that you were super threatening, but I feel like I'm going to start us off. I'm going to be like, yeah, you remember when you tackled that dude and like totally like beat him up and everything? That's at least 1 XP. Can anyone remember another challenge that Baz addressed with force or threats?
I think this is largely based on the way it was colored, but I felt like you had the option of hacking the rig that was doing it, and instead you're like, nope, I get the pry bar and I get the thing, and we pry this thing open,
Right, it's brute strength, not cunning.
exactly.
Awesome. So it sounds like 2 XP to me. So 2 XP for that. What's your next trigger?
All right, that next one is going to be you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
What? Definitely the way you reacted to Aya. 1 XP.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was great.
The only other thing I can think of, I don't know. I was excited.
I have one. Go ahead.
Yeah, do it. You.
I really thought that the way that you showcased that you weren't, in particular, the way that your drives were expressed in both how you approach the job, like by talking about, hey, we're not supposed to open this and stuff like that, and also in the way that I feel like when, in particular, you took the cube out and dropped the box and hit it, and then gritted your teeth and carried it for like hours while still pushing it out of your mind. I feel like that definitely tells me the kind of person you are. You didn't like try and pawn it off on someone. You didn't try and like pretend like it was, like, oh, hey, somebody give me a break on this, or like whatever. Like you just
Someone take a turn.
Yeah, like I feel that that's kind of a drive to protect your crew and sort of like take these burdens on yourself, kind of thing. Does that sound right, or?
It jives with me in the things that I think are important, but I don't.
So.
I'm not.
Yep. Nope. You should definitely take it.
Totally.
Cool. So it sounds like 4 XP for Boz, and of course no vices or traumas because you're not traumatized yet. So, yeah.
Well, it depends. Your vice's obligation was any of this doing a job for your family that got you into trouble. I mean, we kind of started this like we don't exactly know why we have this job or what we're doing, but it could very well show if your connection to the Cobalt Syndicate does. I could see it coming up.
Then it might be then it might be a point next time, and that's a good thing to watch for. So it sounds like 4 XP. You can put it in personal, or you can put it in any of the other ones. Lauren, you're the last one on our list. I also don't think you got any desperate actions, but what's your first trigger?
My first is I addressed a tough challenge with deception or influence, which I think I did a couple of times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
I could think of at least 2.
Yeah, I don't have to be successful in this. I just have to have tried. Great. So I tried this with Aya, and I tried this with the fella at the bar as well. Did I also try and unsuccessfully butter up the Ashen knife that we got left with?
Yeah,
Totally, absolutely.
So I feel like that's an easy 2 XP right there.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the next trigger?
I express my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
There was a lot of banter about this, crew cabins. There was a lot of like, I like nicer things.
That's definitely 1 XP.
Yeah.
Also the part where you open the box.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a total drive right there.
Yeah, that is really big. And then I also feel like me kind of near the end, it feels like most of the time I'm kind of aloof, but you saw me really dig in to support the people I'm with to do that stuff. So
well, and you, like you also picked up a wrench, right? Like, which isn't a thing you're excited to acknowledge that you know how to do, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? But
Also, you picked up a blaster, which
Yeah.
for a person that constantly keeps trying to talk their way out of trouble, the fact that you're willing to like lay down cover fire and risk yourself. And even when you see this like total badass that like deflects laser bolts, you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep laying down cover fire. And
Yeah, this is what I can do.
yeah, that's a lot of that feels to me very, meaningful and kind of emotional there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. So 4 XP for you. Again, you can put in personal or any one of the columns as you will.
Great.
Awesome.
Where is the personal?
Right
On
above
the
the
digital
XP.
or on your sheet.
Oh, I see. Okay. So when that fills up, I get a new special ability,
That
right?
is correct. Yep. That's exactly how it works.
I think I might put it in. I'm gonna put. I think I'll put all 4 in resolve
Awesome. Pretty solid.
to
Cool.
get more speakery.
Yep.
nice.
There's a thing that a lot of people sometimes overlook, and that's the fact that having a strong ability is sometimes just as effective as having a new power. Like if you are so good at sway that most of the time you're able to get away with like without many consequences, that is almost as powerful as having an actual power. So like abilities are secret powers in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Got
All
it.
right, and the last but not least, let's do some crew XP real quick.
Mhm.
The first one is: have you engaged in a successful transport or smuggling operation? And I feel like you guys took an artifact off-world, past blockades, and 3 different factions hunting you. So I feel like there's definitely at least 1 XP there. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly smuggled something. We didn't get it to the mark, but
Well, you got it to the mark, but the mark was dead. That's not your fault.
yeah. True.
All right.
We didn't do that.
Next up, did you contend with challenges above your current station?
I want to say yes, and also
Definitely.
yes.
Yeah. By dealing with the personal Malclay guard that is way above what we should be doing.
Awesome. So that's 2 XP for your crew.
Nice.
Next up, do you feel like you bolstered your crew's reputation or developed a new one? So do you feel like you folks were ambitious?
I think so. My argument would be this: whoever told us to go deliver this thing was presumably not expecting for the person we would deliver to be dead, and we could have easily been like, "Well, that's not our problem. We're gonna just hand it over to the police." And we were like, "Nope, we're not letting go of this thing," because
You wanna
obviously,
throw house guards and stuff at us? We got it.
And I think also by
Almost
kind of,
inappropriately stubborn, right?
yeah, tangling with the ash and the Shen knives, we're kind of like, you think you're a big deal? We're a big deal.
All
You're not
right,
that
so
big.
that sounds like 2 XP to me. What do you folks feel like?
I feel like there were tons of them. Yeah.
I feel like
I want to.
yeah, you guys were ambitious and daring all over here. All right, so the last one is: do you feel like you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew? And in particular, if for nothing else, I definitely want to give 1 XP for that moment when Lauren was totally like opening the box and Baz walked in and you had that like discussion. How does this crew handle stuff and things like that? So I feel
Right.
like 1 XP for that, but I'm willing to listen for a second one here if you folks have a good moment.
Yeah. There was another time when Faye was like, "Well, we could just talk to them," and Lauren was like, "Nope,
Nope.
not talking to them. That is not a thing we're gonna do. We did not get this far to like potentially blow this thing and like try and make nicey nice." I think we were seeing that like Faye and maybe Boz, I'm not sure, like aren't necessarily having as much issue with the hegemony, and Lauren definitely does. It's like, nope, that's not on the table. So to me, that was a poignant a moment, even if it wasn't like necessarily a tactical one. It was definitely something that mattered.
Awesome.
Sure. It's also, I was minded the minute where Lauren stopped you from getting blasted to bits when you and I did our shtick with the
Yeah.
hashing
I think-
knife. Like everyone played together well.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and particularly in that last scene where you're like, all right, so we're going to divvy up, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to collaborate where we need to collaborate, and we're going to spread out when we need to spread out. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Great play.
It was neat.
All right, cool. So that feels like 2 XP there.
I think so.
And guess what? That totally fills up your little crew meter.
Aww. Crew
Nice.
hearts.
So, oh no, it's one under. Oh, it's one
Yeah,
under.
that's what I
All
was
right.
thinking.
So next session, you're definitely going to flip over, so you're going to get some upgrades, which means that you might be able to get crew quarters.
Yay!
Check it out.
So, that's something to think about. Go ahead and take a look at the ship upgrades and figure out if there's something aside from crew quarters that you want. Training might be useful too, but also there's plenty of delicious stuff in there to go for. You can try and bump up your starting gambits and do all sorts of other wacky stuff.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. That's Scum and Villainy. We just played through a job. So next session, we're going to start with downtime, and we're going to talk about payout and entanglements and all the good stuff that comes right before downtime. So that's that. So
Awesome.
thank you all for joining me. And,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, chat,
So good.
for sticking with us and enjoying this game. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you tune in. We're playing again. Is it in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Yeah.
In 2 weeks. So that's it.
Yeah. Good night, all.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
And-